Hello, hello, hello. So it's April 1st. Now it seems to me that if I'm going to have tech trouble, tonight's the night, right? Although, if you guys were on Facebook a few nights ago, you might have seen me sneak on and do a live and see if I could get things to work. And I did. And of course, the instructions that they gave me, I went through the steps and it was already fixed. So I consider that sort of a bad omen that I now know how to fix it, but it seems to have fixed itself. So I'm anticipating at some point this month or next month that Facebook will not work again. But oh well. So glad to see everyone. Yeah, I can't believe it's April. And where I am, it is colder than it has been. And it snowed today, and I'm not happy, and I'm exhausted, and I don't know if it's the weather or if I'm just crabby or what. So, anyways, so it's good that you're here. Keep me a little happier. So I'm looking to see who's here. Lots of familiar names. So welcome. Yeah, things are just going by really super fast. So yes, for some of you also, I know some of you saw I did a little commercial of some new things I'm doing, and I'll probably post links with that. Oh, Tug-O-Late, that's just cruel. Sunny, 80 degrees. I don't think we hit 40 today here. Cold, just cold. So anyway, so I'm going to post some links to Facebook and YouTube. I did a commercial about some new things that I'm doing. I talked a little bit about it a few weeks ago, something called a why session. I also talked a little bit more about a metaphysical hypnosis session, but I have also added for both of them, I've added a surrogate option if you are unable to be hypnotized or can't get deep enough to get the kind of answers you want. There is a surrogate option. So I'll post links for that sometime tonight. But just know if you have any questions, free consultations are always available. You can book it through my website. So welcome. So in a couple minutes, we will start with our first healing pulse. I was looking at my little book where I keep track of everything. It's sort of starting to fall apart here. But look at this. So this is how many sessions, and this is how many I've got, how many pages I've got left. I think I might need a new book. Would you believe today is show number 190? So April 1st. All right, so welcome. Got a few new people, it appears. So if you are new, the show is a mix of individual and group healing. For the individual, I format it similar to an emotion code session where you tell me what's going on with you. It can be something physical, it can be something emotional. You know, I hurt my knee, or I woke up really sad, and I will look to see if there's a trapped emotion that is contributing to that and release it. And then for the group work, I also do a healing pulse, which helps with physical and emotional things. So yeah, it's going to be a really good night, I think. Good. Duncan over here sleeping. Dexter over here under blankets sleeping. Oh, and both of them are in my new commercial. Dexter made an appearance during the commercial, and then I also have a bloopers section where I've got both of them. Yeah, usually when when I used to do a lot of little videos, I would just wing it. I did not wing it for this because there was too much that I felt needed to be said. So I had a teleprompter. Yeah, and so you can tell I'm reading it, but I think I didn't miss out on anything. Oh, and Miriam just posted. She did a Y session last week. Very helpful. I recommended this. It was very fun. So Miriam was my first official client for a Y session, although I've been probably doing Y sessions for a year and a half because I've been playing around with it. So it's super fun. Yep. So I'm starting to look. Actually, let's do the first healing pulse, and then when we come back, I will start writing things in my book of what we're going to work on tonight. So, if you have not experienced a healing pulse, it's a wonderful type of energy. And the reason why it's wonderful is because you can direct where you want it to go. So, for instance, like if you do have something going on with your knee, you have pain or some type of discomfort, wherever that is, you can direct it to that. Or, as I said before, as an example, if you're feeling extra sad, think about it. Where does sadness live in you? Is it in your heart? Is it in your gut? So it's real. Both of those examples, physical and emotional, are really work well with the healing pulse. Although some people don't really experience much of anything, but that's sort of like life. Not everything works for everyone. And so if you're one that doesn't really feel, just go along with it, because sometimes things grow. Or I had one client who told me that hours later she felt relief, which was interesting because most people feel relief as we're doing it or soon after. So now that you've got your place picked that you want to send energy to, and if you cannot reach it, imagine that you can. So, because putting your hands exactly where you want to feel the relief, although helpful, it's not a mandatory thing. So just imagine your hands there, especially if you can't reach it, like there's a spot in the middle of your back or like your foot. So I want you to rub your hands together and then place your hands exactly where you want to receive the energy. Imagine my hands on yours. And here's the most important part. Just allow the energy to flow. So you're getting my healing frequencies plus your own. And then with each breath in, imagine that the energy goes a little deeper, a little further. With each breath out, you are releasing. Maybe it's something that doesn't belong or something that you're done with, or maybe it was something that wasn't even yours. So breathing in and healing, and breathing out and releasing. And especially if you're sensitive to energies, you might feel tingles or hot or cold or something. But just be open. And we will do 2 more of these. Okay, so that was our first healing pulse. Pretty short. Let me know if you noticed anything. Posted in the chat. So I'm just going to start scrolling through. Oh, and Fatha says she saw my new commercial. Yeah, I used to do videos all the time. All right, so Angel. Okay, so Angel's first on the list. So phlegm stuff, black right ear. So generally I try and focus on one thing, but sometimes, especially like with the right ear and sinus stuff, sometimes they're related. So what I'll do is I'll check and see if we can do both together. Otherwise, I will focus on one. And Sissy wants to work on procrastination. All right, Angel's dad, Paul. Blood sugar issues. I call that BS, Angel. I hate blood sugar issues. That is one of my demons. And Jeffrey, some fatigue. Oh, Harmonious. I like this one. So Harmonious wants to manifest a divine healed main partner. I like that because I think there's a lot of people that are a little oblivious about their own self-healing. So yeah, because you want someone sort of at the same level that you're at. Very nice. Okay, Valerie's still working on her ears. All right, so Emphatha. Clarity on path forward. Want to move, don't know where. Has anyone ever done the astrocartography? It's like it talks about locations, like locations that are good for you. So I had signed up for something, I can't remember if it was TikTok or I think it was TikTok. But I signed up for it and it was something you had to pay for. And then if after the trial period, it was expensive. And so once I signed up for it, I couldn't find the astrocartography information. There was so many other things. It was sort of annoying. So I felt a little taken advantage of. But the concept is really interesting. So, especially if you're looking for a place to live that is more supportive for you, especially spiritually, emotionally, or for like your business too, there are places that that are more supportive. Right, so we're adding Nick. Says that tail end of digestive system healing. Well, that's good. It is tail end. Lily. Rash. Upper inner thigh, both. Both legs. That must be annoying. All right. And I think a space for grace, it's cut off a little bit on my screen, but I think that's what it is. Because I just have through the C congestion, have to keep her head up to clear mucus. Well, that's annoying. It makes it hard to breathe, too. Oh, and Valerie posted about the healing pulse so that she, big yawns and ears popping. So oftentimes with energy work or some of the emotional work too that I do, a yawn is a symptom or not a symptom, a sign that things are shifting within you. So a yawn will release energy so that there is more room for healing. Oh my gosh, Tug. That's amazing. So Tug wrote, feeling pretty awesome. After the last healing in March, the pain in my back moved and then greatly lessened. Fabulous. I love that. And Sissy's yawning. So wonderful. And then Rose Petal says, nice commercial. So that's appreciated too. All right. So Miriam has cause of weak arm strength. Is it both or just one, Miriam? Okay, so there's more detail from Tug. Less pain for sure. So spot next to spine, right side below neck. Spine. So I write things down, but I'm hoping I can read my writing. Low neck between shoulders feels caught. Okay. All right, rose petals. Usually pretty happy. This week sad. Maybe grief. All right, so rose petals. I'm going to put down both and we'll see what comes up. So, Zia Earth Song. Great name. Pain right hip. So, Miriam, when you found your cabin in the mountains, is that how you discovered it would be a good place? Or did you go there and you just knew it was a good place? Okay. So is it Raleigh? Pain right up my ribs. So Raleigh, when we do the next couple healing pulses, that is exactly where you want to send. Nice, Miriam. Okay, and Miriam says both her arms. Okay, so I think I've got everyone. So I'm going to say everyone's name. If you put something in the comments and I don't say your name, please retype it or draw my attention to it, because sometimes I do miss things, not on purpose. So I've got Angel, Sissy, Paul, Jeffrey, Harmonious, Valerie, and Fatha, Nick, Lily, Space for Grace, Miriam, Tug of Light, Rose Petals, Zia Earth Song, and Brawley. So if anyone else comes in, or if you just want to watch for a while, when you're comfortable, put something in chat. So first three people we're going to work on is Angel, Sissy, and Paul. So with this, what I'm doing is I'll look for a trapped emotion that's contributing to the issue that you have listed. And then I'll give you a replacement positive emotion to fill the voids. And of course, I printed out my positive emotion sheet and then I didn't leave it out. So hold on here. The good and the bad about having a lot of tools is things get mixed up. Okay, so there we go. Positive sheet. Yep, Sissy is number 2, Valerie. Thank you for checking though. All right, so Angel. Angel's got some sinus stuff and some right ear stuff. So I'm going to just check if we need to do both of them together or if we need to focus on one. Okay, we need to focus on the right ear stuff. So with the trapped emotions, I'm using the work of Dr. Bradley Nelson. He wrote the emotion code, although I was certified it in many years ago. I sort of tweak things and do my own thing. So sometimes I use his information. Well, like right now I'm using his list, but everything else I sort of tweaked and make it more, what's the word? No, more better for you guys. So Angel, I'm getting indecisiveness. Let me get an age. I'm getting like 16. So I think that's a fairly common emotion for 16. So ages are the hardest, but usually it's plus or minus a year. So 15, 16, 17. So I don't know if you had a hard time making decisions at 16, Angel. And so we're going to remove the energies of indecisiveness, and then we're going to replace it with the energy of being free. And I like that because oftentimes indecisiveness, you're sort of wandering and trying to figure things out, but free is a wonderful choice. So with this, if you have healing in your background, please assist me in releasing your trapped emotions. If you don't have healing in your background, if you could just lend support by saying a prayer or just a wish. I wish that indecisiveness or whatever comes up for you would release. So releasing indecisiveness for Angel, and then we're going to replace it with the energy of free. I like that. Okay. All right, Sissy is next. Sissy's dealing with some procrastination issues. So let's see what is contributing to that. So I'm getting the energy of unworthy. Let me get an age for you, Sissy. I'm getting like age 19. So 18, 19, 20, unworthy. So we're going to remove that, but let me find a positive emotion to replace it with. So we're going to replace it with the energy of rewarded. I like that. Getting rid of unworthy and replace it with rewarded. I think that's a nice trade. All right, so releasing unworthy and then replacing it with rewarded. Okay. Paul is next. Paul's got some blood sugar issues. So let's see. So Paul, I'm getting taken for granted. Let's see what age that was. Getting you're around 39. Taken for granted. So it's 38, 39, 40, somewhere in there. And then let's see what we're going to replace that taken for granted with. Oh, and one of my favorite words on the list, invigorated. All right, so Paul and Angel 2, you can help your dad. So we're going to release taken for granted. And then we're going to reinforce and imbue the energy of being invigorated into Paul. Okay. And so the next three I've got Jeffrey, Harmonious, and Valerie. And I think after those three, then we'll do our next healing pulse. So Jeffrey is suffering from fatigue. Let's see. So I'm getting the energy of panic for Jeffrey. Let me get an age. Getting about age 9. So 8, 9, 10, somewhere in there, something sort of triggered him. Although at that age, I always like to check and see if this is his or if this was someone near him. Nope, this was his. So there was something that caused him to sort of panic. And sometimes it's just because at 9, you don't always understand that things around you are, well, you don't always understand them. But then again, it might have been something serious too that was worth him panicking about. So, but we're going to remove the energy of panic and we're going to replace it with the energy of wise. I like that. And so Jeffrey and Angel, you can help too. We're going to release panic. And then we're going to strengthen the energy of wise and Jeffrey. Very nice. All right, so Harmonious. Harmonious wants to manifest a divine, healed male partner. I really like that. let's see what's contributing to not attracting that. Getting the energy of grief, harmonious. Let me get an age. This is like around 21. So 20, 21, 22. Now, grief can be an actual physical death, but it could also be different kinds of loss. You know, loss of family, friends, a job. You lived in the perfect city and you had to move. So think about expanding what grief might be. And let's see what we're going to replace the grief with. We've got the energy of flowing. I like that because I think flowing will help attract what's meant to be. So we're going to release and remove grief. And Harmonious just confirmed that a lot happened that year. So I think this is a really good thing to let go of. And then we're going to replace it with the energy of flowing. All right, so Valerie's next, and then we'll take a little break and do the next healing pulse. Valerie's been having troubles with her ears. Oh, it's the energy of disgust. All right, so let me get an age for Valerie. You were like 5. So like 4, 5, 6, disgust. So we're going to take that out, and then we're going to replace it with something better. We're going to replace with the energy of unique. I like that one. And so with, as I mentioned with Jeffrey, especially childhood emotions that are trapped, sometimes that's not the child's, it's, someone else that was close to them. But Valerie, I'm getting disgust as yours. So something was going on that you were pretty disgusted. So we're going to release and remove disgusted. And we're going to imbue and instill just this energy of being unique. Okay. All right. So Andrea, I'm adding you to the list. Large mass. Cis. And right breast. Okay. So we're going to do our next healing pulse. And when we come back, we're going to work on Enfatha and Nick and Lily. And so for those of you who maybe came in after the first healing pulse, like Andrea, I don't know if you were here, but I would suggest sending the healing pulse to that right breast. Raleigh to your ribs. Zia to that right hip. Rose petals. You were here with instructions, but I think about where you feel the sadness and the grief, and that's where you're going to send it. So Valerie just confirmed. So she doesn't really know what, because she had discussed around age 5. Maybe it was just I remember when I was 5, worms really grossed me out. I was pretty disgusted. But I was going fishing with my dad, And he would make me dig worms before he came home from work, and said if I didn't dig worms before he came home, we couldn't go fishing. And so I got over my disgust. They were gross. But fishing with my dad was the best. So it might have been something like that, just something in heat of the moment where it got trapped. All right, so I want you to rub your hands together and then place your hands exactly where you want to receive the energy. And then imagine my hands on yours and just allow the energy to flow. Now, if you are one that enjoys breath work, and some people really like how breath work makes them feel, this is something you can easily add. I oftentimes recommend the box breath, the 4-4-4, or whatever type of breath that you enjoy. Not everybody resonates with breath work, but that's the cool thing about this. You can sort of tweak things to make it more powerful for you. For instance, if you're really into color, like I know at least one of you is, what happens when you add color to the energy going through my hands, through your hands, to the issue? So just breathe that in and then let go of whatever you need to release. So, and the nice thing about this work with the releasing of things, especially if you can't really remember what it was, what event caused something to get trapped, a lot of times you don't have to know what it was. Okay, Valerie's experiencing lots of yawns. So, and yawns mean she's making room for more healing, and her ears are popping, and we were working on her ears, so that's very cool. So just allow the energy to flow, breathing in deeper and deeper, breathing out and releasing. Okay, so that was Healing Pulse number 2. We'll do a third one shortly, although we're running a little bit late. I've sort of changed how I do things for the trapped emotion, so it tends to take me a little longer, but I think it's a little bit more comprehensive. So coming back, we've got Emphatha, Nick, and Lily. So Emphatha wants to work on clarity, on a path forward, possibly moving to somewhere more supportive. So let's see what comes up as something that's contributing to holding her back. So I've got the energy of forlorn. Let me get an age for that. Oh, you were 6. Oh. So 5, 6, 7, forlorn. Definitely is something to get rid of. And we're going to take away forlorn, and we're going to replace it with the energy of being focused. I like that, because focused, I think, gives you a really good end result. And so we're going to release forlorn for Emphatha, Hello, Ra. We're doing some individual healing. And so people have put in chat what they want to work on. So if you want to hang out for a little bit and just get a feel for what we're working on. So then we're reinforcing the energy of being focused. Okay, so Nick is had some digestive system issues and things are getting better, but he's still got a little ways to go. So let's see if there is, because I am getting there's a trapped emotion contributing. Oh, I'm getting an inherited one. Let's see what that is. Inherited panic. So let's see where that came from. If it was your mom's side or dad's side. Oh, hello, Robin. Fabulous for you to show up. I have an email I owe you, Robin. So let's see. So Nick, this is from your dad's side. Let's see. Did it start with your dad? Yes. So this got trapped in your dad when he was 21. And so if he's got other kids, they might have a sensitivity to panic. And so we're going to release it to anyone that has it. So it doesn't always affect everyone. And we're going to replace it with, hold on here. Energy satisfied. I like that, because think about eating and digestion and being satisfied. Because especially if you got tummy troubles, you're usually not satisfied. I like that. So we've released the inherited panic from anyone in your dad's lineage. And then we are instilling satisfied. Okay. Lily is next. Lily's got a rash. And let's see, because I do get there's an emotion contributing to that. So I'm getting creative insecurity. Let me get an age and maybe that'll make more sense, Lily. All right. Getting you're like 13, Lily. And so think about creative insecurity of a teenager, a 13-year-old, or you might have been 12, 13, 14. Oftentimes you don't have the confidence of your own thoughts and ideas. And so you might have been teased or just really insecure about it. So we're going to take that away. And then we're going to replace it with something so much better. Oh, we're going to replace it with the energy of emancipated. And so think about being 13 and you're insecure and it's sort of holding you back. So we're going to release that, but we're going to reinforce emancipated which means you're free. So releasing creative insecurity. So Lily, help me release that. And then grab onto emancipated and imbue that within you. Okay, so next I've got Space for Grace, Miriam, Tug, and then I've got Rose Petals, Zia, Raleigh, Andrea, and then I've got Raw. I've got a few messages I missed. Let me just double check. So Sissy. On this end, Sissy, everything seems okay. All right, and then Emphatha's talking about Nick, because Nick has digestive system issues, and it came up with an inherited trapped emotion from his dad. Oh, and his inherited trapped emotion of panic. And then Emphatha tells me his dad had panic attacks. That all fits. Oh, and then Sissy's confirming that she yawned a lot. So that's good. Fabulous. Okay. So 7:52. Let's do our third healing pulse, and then we'll come back and start with Space for Grace. So with the healing pulse, rub your hands together and then place them exactly where you want to receive the energy. Imagine my hands on yours and just allow the energy to flow. With each breath in, it goes a little deeper. With each breath out, you are releasing. Breathe that in. Okay, that was our last healing pulse of the night, although we will end with aura strengthening. So let me know how you guys did, especially more people typically feel something on their second and third healing pulse than the first. So let me know if did things build for you or did it stay about the same. All right, so Space for Grace has congestion and it's a little hard to breathe depending on how they're sitting. So let's focus on the congestion. So I do get there's an emotion that's contributing. So I'm getting the energy of frustration. Let me get an age. So Valerie's got big yawns. Ooh, Sissy's got hands tingling and yawning. That's pretty cool. All right, Space for Grace. I'm getting frustration around like age 19. So 18, 19, 20. Ages are sort of the hardest, but I'm thinking somewhere in there, late teens. Oh, I like this one. All right, so we are taking away frustration and we're replacing it with being exceptional. I like that. Because imagine you've got this energy of frustration and you're sort of frazzled and letting that go, but having this just feeling that everything's just as it should be. It's exceptional. So releasing and removing frustration, and then we're replacing that energy with exceptional. Very nice space for grace. Okay. Next is Miriam. She's got weak arm strength. And it's both arms. So let's see. Because I do get something contributing to that. So Miriam, I'm getting taken for granted. Let me get an age for you. Getting like age 36. So 35, 36, 37, something in there where you're taken for granted. So that's what we're going to release, but let's see what we're going to put back. So I'm getting the energy of united. I like that because you think about taken for granted is sort of making you feel alone. And sometimes you're taken for granted by other people, or sometimes you feel taken advantage by like the situation or the universe. But releasing that allows us to help you feel united and together. And so let's release taken for granted. And imbuing, instilling, strengthening, united in Miriam. Okay. Tug is next. So Tug had some back pain, and now it has lessened and moved, which is fabulous from last month. So she's got a spot next to the spine, right side, sort of between neck, shoulder blade area. So let's see what comes up. Getting grief, Tug. Let me get an age. Getting like 16. So 15, 16, 17. All right, so we're releasing grief, but then we're replacing it with virile. And so adding where grief will bring you down and make you really take away your strength, we're adding your strength back. So releasing and removing grief. All right, so Angel's asking about good luck, bad luck. I don't think we're going to do that tonight because we've got like 6 people left and we're running late. But thank you for asking. Maybe next month. All right, so imbuing virile. Okay. So rose petals is next. So we're kind of sad and grief. And then I think you had said you felt the discomfort in your right hip. And I do get they're all connected. So I'm just double checking to see if I need to separate sadness from grief. No. So we're going to do it all as a group. So let's see. So getting this as inherited trapped emotion. Let's find out what that is. I'm also getting panic. Let's see where this came from. So getting it's on your dad's side. Did it start with dad? No. Was it start with dad's parents? Yes. Was it grandma? All right, so rose petals. This started with your dad's mom, so your grandma. Let me see how old she was. So it's the energy of panic. Getting she was about 16, so she was young. So let's release this from your entire lineage. So release from you. If you have any aunts, uncles, cousins, or if you have siblings, or if you have kids. So anyone affected, because not everyone is. So we're going to release that. So releasing that. And then what are we replacing that with? Ooh, forceful. You know, sometimes it's helpful to be forceful. Because when you think of panic, it sort of takes away your power. And so we're going to, in releasing the panic and adding forceful, we're going to give you your strength back, rose petals. I like that. Okay, let me just look and see. So Miriam wrote a comment because she had weak arms and we had like taken for granted around 36. So she put work-related issue being taken advantage of, and then she coughed upon release. Fabulous. I love that because it working together to release makes it even more powerful. And then space for grace. So we had frustration around 19, and then we replaced it with exceptional. And she says around 19 that it would have been perfect. Well, and especially replacing it at 19, but allowing it to continue on through today because there was a piece of it affecting your congestion. So that is wonderful. So here's Tugalate commenting because she had grief at 16 and she's got some physical pain. So very lonely, going to ballet boarding school with my family across the Atlantic. So basically you left home at 16. Oh, that's so sad. Oh, I'm glad we released that. Makes me feel really good that it released. Oh, and look at what Rose Petals wrote. Rose Petals, there was an inherited panic, and she could feel sadness and grief in her right hips, and we replaced it with forceful. So she's got, wow, something changed. I breathed it out. Thank you. Cool. Love that. Thank you for sharing, everyone. No matter how long I do this, I always love confirmations. All right, so I have 4 people left. So I've got Zia, Raleigh, Andrea, and Ra. All right, so Zia's got pain right hip. So let's see. And it's my favorite trapped emotion to say from this list. It's wishy-washy. All right, let me get an age for this. Getting this is from around age 19, which I think that's a fairly common age to not know about choices and decisions because you're making a lot of decisions. You know, you're leaving high school, you're trying what you want to be as a grown up, what you're going to do, where you're going to live. So we're going to take that out and then let me see what we're going to replace it with. Ooh. So we got wishy-washy and we're replacing it with euphoric. Wow, that's cool. Okay, so let's release wishy-washy. And we're going to replace it with euphoric. Okay, so that released. All right, Raleigh is next. Pain, right ribs, right side. So let's see. So I'm getting the energy of hopelessness. Let me get an age for Raleigh. Getting like 19. So 18, 19, 20. So let's release that. Let me see what we're going to replace it with. All right, so we're replacing hopelessness. We're filling it with serene. I like that because hopelessness is pretty chaotic. You don't have a lot of control. And serenity, I consider serenity also connected to peace. So let's release hopelessness. This is especially a good one to release because when you have hopelessness as a trapped emotion, it's easier to feel hopeless about things in your future. So replace it with serene. All right, so Andrea. Large, massive cysts, right breast. That's horrible. Let's see. Another inherited trapped emotion. Seems like most shows it's rare for me to have any inherited trapped emotion, but the last few shows. The energy of terror. Let me see where that came from, Andrea. So I'm getting this from your dad's side. Did this start with Dad? Getting it started with Dad. Let's see how old he was. He was like 26. So something happened that, and terror has quite a range. It's, something that just very sudden and just sort of extremely freaked out, or it's like horror movie terror. Let's see what we're replacing that with for you, Andrea. Okay, so we're releasing terror from anyone in your family affected by this, Andrea. And we're replacing it with the energy of being invited and welcomed. Oh, and I could just feel the love. Very opposite of terror. So let's get rid of terror. And then we're bringing in invited and just so loved. Ooh, and Zia just wrote. So we just did hers. We released wishy-washy and replaced it with euphoric. She felt the download. Very cool. Thank you for sharing, Zia. Love that. All right, last one. Raw. Feeling unappreciated. That is not a good one, Robin. Let's see. So I'm getting part of that energy is from worry. And let's see what age that. Okay, this is around 28. So, and sometimes, like, because she wants to work on feeling unappreciated, sometimes the trapped emotion also connects with that feeling unappreciated, sometimes that age. So I don't know if you're also feeling unappreciated at 28, but worry is tied in there, Robin. Let's see. Let's see what we're going to replace. Okay, so Robin's our last one, unless I missed anyone. So we're gonna take away worry, and we're gonna fill it up with being thrilled. I really like that because worry, when you think about the energy of worry, it's sort of dark and makes me feel a little anxious. But thrilled, there's just excitement and joy and wow. All right, so let's get rid of worry. Somehow that's connected to feeling unappreciated. And then we're going to instill and imbue thrilled for raw. Okay, and Space for Grace wrote something too. Let's see what she wrote. Or he wrote. I think it's a she. Thank you for the last comment regarding exceptional being relevant for me today. Leaned into that as well as recent frustrations, and my throat feels as though something has shifted. Wow. Loving the feedback tonight, guys. That is wonderful. Fabulous. All right, so I'm going to put links for my little commercial in chat. So if you have not found my commercials, it is on my Facebook page, Healing by Summer. It's on YouTube under videos. Like tonight's video is under live. So here is both. Go check me out. I'm talking about metaphysical hypnosis, which I've been doing for, I think, 4 years now. And then I'm adding something called the Why session. And then I am also adding a potential to add a surrogate if you think or you've had trouble being hypnotized in the past. So thank you for being here. Let's do the aura strengthening. So the wonderful thing about having a strong aura is it helps repel negativity. And, you know, the world today is just full of people thinking they need to share nasty opinions with you. And sometimes it's just too much. So having a strong aura will help repel and help, especially if you're empathic, helps you feel less. And I also like to add a hint of reflectivity in your aura, because that will help it shine back on the sender if someone's sending some nastiness. Don't do like full-fledged mirror, because then people might run into you and you don't want that. And so let's rub your hands together and then start beaming the energy out to your aura. And so some of you will have to imagine beaming it outside because your aura is so huge. But I want you to think about what do you need today? You know, like some of the positive words that we use today. You know, free, rewarded, invigorated, wise, unique, focused, satisfied, emancipated, exceptional, united, virile, forceful, euphoric, serene, invited, thrilled, or whatever you need. I want you to fill up your aura with what you need, you know, or maybe you need unconditional love and support. Do you need strength and courage? So fill up your aura. All right. And that was our April 1st mini healing. So thank you, everybody. Powerful night for a number of you. Very cool. So, and if anyone has any questions about what I do, what type of tools. So these tools I sometimes use in my regular private healings. However, I have about 30 different tools. I use these tools in the mini healing because they're quick. Some of my other tools are not so quick, but I use whatever you need to work on healing whatever we're working on. So thank you for being here. I have not decided if I'm doing another show this month. I have just been so exhausted. And so some of you honey fans, she's talked a little bit about some crazy changes. I think that's part of it. There's a lot of energetic things that are going on. But I really appreciate all the comments and feedback. Oh, and look what Tug-a-Lay wrote. Wow. Have a lot more mobility in my neck. Still caught, but much better. And now know what emotions my body has been holding. Didn't realize how tough my career was on me emotionally. Healing now that I know. And that's part of why knowing gives you so much power. That's a sort of why I've started doing the what I call the why sessions, because it gives you a direction to look into for why, and now you know. So, but I hope everyone has a fabulous night. Yeah, just really good things came up. So thank you. I really appreciate that and love your feedback and support. So have a good night. And I'm hoping I see you in April. Part of it just depends on, I just need to feel better. Bye.